I always like when a parody like is like it's like half like, oh, we came up with clever lines, and then the other half is like, oh, just put dick here instead of whatever the other word was.
Yeah, no, like, cause it shows like I still have a very elementary sense of humor because of how much it cracks me up, but like it's like such an easy joke because you know how annoying this is for them. You know, like I just showed Danny Dicko mode in case
Yeah.
like this part gets in the episode. Which, if you don't know
Yeah,
Dicko mode, it's like this gay rap parody of Sicko Mode by Travis Scott and Drake, and yeah, like it's. Like on paper, it sounds stupid. It's like, why would you share this? This is homophobic. And like, it sure inherently is homophobic, but like, it's funny because it's like Drake. I know I hate this, and also just the way they changed the wording on it. Like I love the fact that like that he said my favorite line in the whole thing is he says at one point, "Niggas think I'm straight. It's on sight." Like that is crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, we lost our a lot of our listeners from that beginning. Welcome to the Good Music Show. We have a bonus episode.
Yeah, we like good music that is parodying rap and making it as if they were gay.
Yeah. Because like that's something I even love about like God, I'm trying to remember the name is this dude, Cakes the Killer. You ever heard Cakes the Killer?
No.
Like Cakes the Killer is so raw. Like he was like, for me growing up, he was like the first like out homosexual rapper who was like doing real explicit sex raps of that like dynamic where because I'm somebody I love sex rap because I'm a freak, no, but because like I like music for as 50 Cent would put it, this is for the bitches. Like, you know, I love that kind of music. I love that kind of rap. You know, like for me, if a rapper, it's hard for me to get into a rapper if I know that he ain't got girls listening to his music. And that's just because for me, it's just like this guy's like too masculine. He's trying too hard to like maintain that kind of fan base. Whereas rap, when it's like for multiple kind of audiences, it's for me, it's like it's so fun to get into and stuff. It's more people you can talk to about it. And Cakes the Killer, well, about his stuff is that he is saying some real graphic fucking lines, but the graphic lines are just graphic. They're talking about dick and what he's gonna do to that dick, you know, like Cupcake. But in Cakes the Killer way of it, he's gay about it, and like the rapping is sick. Like he's a great technical rapper. Like just machine gun kind of flows, you know? But it's like lyricism that like, if I play this at a barbershop, I'm getting kicked out. They're gonna give me a reverse mohawk and give me a wedgie, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I love that kind of rap because it's like fun just to hear a dude making this kind of like untouched subject matter sound dope, but also because of how much I know it's gonna annoy a majority of this fan base because, you know, rap, unfortunately, it has a lot of like fans who are like homophobic, who are misogynistic, because the music that's running it has those ideas and thoughts in mind, you know. But where I think it's just this is like a fun way to like play against it and force it to be more open to these like stories, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird to kind of like try to make it a serious thing because it's so absurd,
to try to contextualize Dicko mode.
Right. I think why I find it funny is just like the repetition of the same joke over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
And like that's what like it's an easy thing to do, but it's also just it always gets me usually if it's well done.
But yeah, so we got a bonus episode that we're going to be talking a bit more about De La Soul, Radiohead, which I'm intrigued to get into because I don't know if me and Danny have talked much about Radiohead. And
maybe a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, a little
Not
bit.
much.
And some other stuff. I mean, I'll start off with just, I don't have an Oasis update. I haven't listened to Oasis album in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, it's weird that this kind of connects because I was literally just listening to the live De La Soul album.
Ooh, I haven't heard any of their live albums yet still.
Yeah, so it was recorded in 96, and which I guess it was around the time where Stakes is High came out. So it has a lot from that, and it's really good. It's like it's a very quick listen. It's only 40 minutes, and then they cram in some guest features from Yasin Bey now, and Common and Jungle Brothers.
Man, like oh man, I gotta hear it because I fucking love the song on that album of Common so much. Like those are three of like the best rap verses like ever. Those dudes are they're not to like jump into that album. What I love about I'm assuming you heard it at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, like what I love about that album is that like it's very much a grumpy old head kind of rap album, despite I think they were all in their 20s still, which
yeah, probably, right?
Because I'll get into this a bit more later, but I gave 3 Feet High and Rising another listen and Balloon Mind State.
Yeah.
Which I want to listen to pretty often still, where I don't even know. I just did because I was like, I love this album. But 3 Feet High and Rising, it was like my first re-listen since way before even the albums like came back. And that one I noticed at one point, Positive was like, I'm 19. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because like he says like real late into the album where because of like how like because it's not a mature album at all. There's a lot of silly shit on there, but because of like how much scope and perspective they're able to bring to this record beyond the silliness of it all, I just assumed this dude has lived enough of life, but he barely is out of high school. Where Stakes is High was kind of interesting is that you have this real old head perspective, but these dudes are showing like how much the industry can aid you if you're flustered into it being like a one-hit wonder, which people have like tried to make him out to be with me, myself, and I.
Right.
I love the song with Common because it just is them going off on their frustrations while showing that they are still some of the most lyrical rappers ever still. I brought up in the last episode, the album is just to me so fun to check out because with their fourth album, you wouldn't really expect them to like, get to another level technically as rappers, but that whole song is just great verse after great verse after great verse and just like insane similes and lines to express their overall point that like rap is in a dangerous fucking like point of its life, as a genre.
Yeah, that was even something that they close out the live performance. Like Pasta News says, basically addresses the crowd, being like,
everybody talking about keep it real. This is real right here. All right. White, black, orange, purple, green, blue, yellow, up in here enjoying themselves and having a good time. Cut that ignorant shit out of here. We don't want to duck from guns. We don't want to call our women hoes. We don't want to call our brothers niggas. Hip hop, for real, all right? Ban the bullshit.
Saying that, all the violent stuff is stupid. Like, you shouldn't be afraid that you're going to get shot over this.
Yeah.
So I think they really have an interesting place in rap in that, like, I don't know, like, you would have to be the one to kind of judge it better than me, but
yeah,
it's interesting like, that's been like a thread since the beginning, since 3 Feet High and Rising.
Yeah, where like they've always like we're trying to like not all build their own niche or pocket to be isolated in, where they're doing this from a genuine love of the genre. Because by the time 3 Feet High and Rising came out, rap was already at least 10 years old. Because a lot of people like to say like, oh, rap started with the first album ever released that's called a rap album. I'm like, no, rap has been like building for so long as a sound where it's so driven for just the aspect of the DJ, which is why a lot of people say it started in the 70s with that first, kill me if I'm wrong, but like DJ Cole Herc, I think it's the DJ, it might be some other dude. But like his house parties where it originated, where like they're coming from a genuine love of rap that is so pure because they're not distracted at all compared to most like, oh, you know what real rap is today kind of rappers, because rap has not really been bastardized at all, where the real sense of hip hop is still viewable by them because they grew up with it. Where it's not corny, it's not pretentious when they say real hip hop, because you can tell it's coming from a real place. Because when people talk about real hip hop today, they're like, oh, J. Cole, the multi-platinum rapper that has sold out tours. That's real hip hop. Where like, and I'm not even trying to like say like being hit making artists makes you a sellout or anything, but it's just kind of amusing to me that that's real hip-hop when if someone's able to like make a fan base and maintain that fan base without disappointing or without challenging them, the genre or whatever, then is this really the realness that we're talking about when we talk about artists like De La Soul? You know what I mean? Where they carry that flag with no hint of pretension at all, because like you could tell they still love it even through the music they're making. Like, if they were trying to be corny about it, Stakes is High would be full of like the kind of jazz they have on Balloon Mind State and more of the funk that they have in their first two albums. But it's very spare. It's a new kind of like lane of instrumentals they're dealing with throughout the album, Where like a lot of people would love the really silly trend of like post album cover that sounds just like the album, because the reason why I think it's silly is that you can really say that for any album, you know what I mean? Where it doesn't really say anything about the album itself. But the black and white cover they have of those children, I think they're looking upward or downwards. Like it really, really, really captures that bare bone sound that they're like creating here, where this is them so unsaturated. but so much real, you know, where it's real before real became a very corny thing to stand for, you know?
Right. Yeah, it really speaks to, again, like how I was saying before, like how they're each album is kind of like a really a journal of where they're at. And then when you compare that to even just talking about the cover, the colorfulness of 3 Feet High and Rising, which I don't know how much they had to do with, because it sounded like it was like the label trying to give them an image, which whatever. They obviously, even like the second that image was put on them, they rejected it, which is kind of fun and like good for them for trying to define themselves rather than having someone else do it. But but the colorfulness of the 3 Feet High and Rising sonically is just it's totally different. It's a different planet than Stakes is High, which is just like we're rappers and we're rapping really well, and the stakes are high. And rap isn't real music.
I mean, hell, like that fucking that title track I think is like such a stunner.
And it's like the second to last track too, so it's like building up to
where like I feel, because to me, like I love that, especially for them, because issue that I have with their first two albums, as much as I like love De La Soul Is Dead and really, really found a new good appreciation for 3 Feet High, is that they could be a bit front loaded, where you could tell they're throwing so much of their best work to keep the album like having a good steady pacing. Because for music, it makes sense to go that route, because most people at the end of the day are rarely going to finish an album. Like when you look at the like data that is public on a lot of these streaming apps, the listeners decline unless it's a hit record at the end of the fucking record. You know what I mean? Where it even kind of implies that people are skipping songs to get to the hit, if we want to like even look at it or interpret it that way. I feel like Stakes is High sneaking that, like Stakes is High to me is so consistently great in its quality, where the title track, which I think is easily my favorite song of theirs, is the classic of the record. It like is such a great approach to like re-upping their sequencing, where I feel like regardless of how you feel about this album, when you hit that song, it is such a haymaker of the point they've been like trying to make throughout the whole thing.
I think the whole like last stretch of songs too are really strong.
Like Sunshine, Pony Ride, such great stuff on there. One of my favorite like hip hop stories, it deals with the title track, where because the title track is produced by Jay Dilla, who is one of the few non-members who got to be on the album. Which just, if you haven't had a deep dive in Jay Dilla, do it. This is just proof of that these guys trusted him at that point as an artist. Where that beat came to them from Q-Tip, where Q-Tip was like, for like a lot of the mid-90s, was shopping Jay Dilla around and saying like, yo, you shouldn't want to beat from me, you should want to beat from this cat. You know, like this guy's the fucking future. And like where like Q-Tip was like showing them the beat for Stakes is High from like a beat tape that Dilla had for them. And they were all like, this beat's whatever. Who cares? This beat's like, it's whatever. It's trash. And Q-Tip's like, oh, okay. Well, here's some other beats he has. And then like after he left, they immediately were like, we got to call this man and get this fucking beat before Q-Tip gets it. Where they acted like the beat was ass, so Q-Tip would not want to touch it. Which I think is like so funny that like they even just from hearing this beat, they're like, oh my God, we could cook. We could cook with this fucking record right here. Right. Where it's just funny to see that kind of scheming going on with a group that through their text they seem silly, where it's even funny hearing they do that kind of scheming as just people and creating their work, you know?
Compliments are struggling, that shouldn't be notable, man. Every word I say should be a hip-hop quote. I'm sick of bitches shaking asses, I'm sick of talking about blunt, sick of Versace glasses, sick of slang, sick of half-ass award shows, sick of name brand clothes, sick of R&B bitches over bullshit tracks, cocaine and cracks, which brings sickness to black, sick of swole head rappers with they sickening raps, claps and gaps, making the whole sick world collapse.
Yeah, but I've been definitely enjoying like listening to a lot, so I've gone through the first 3 several times, and then I've gone through Stakes is High like over the past couple days, so it's not as like ingrained in you. But like, because I gotta say, I still think Balloon Mind State is the most exciting to me personally. Like I'm not gonna say, like I can't really say any of them is the best, because I've even kind of gotten a taste of the Artificial Intelligence. The first one, and then I did a few sampling of tracks from the Grind Date and the and the anonymous nobody. Oh my gosh, that's something like I'm struggling to say their titles because they have a way with the English language that is like unlike anyone else. Like the way they like flip sentences around and on their head.
Oh yeah,
and shorten words and then use those shortened words as like connection points to the next line. It's really cool. I love it.
Oh, there's some of the coolest rappers out there. Like I can be a dick rider when I like a rapper, but I will ride that shit to the moon when it comes to De La Soul. Where I'm glad that pause. I'm glad that you're really into them, because not to talk about our own work, breaking the rule of any podcaster, but like Danny used to like make these albums or not albums but tracks. He made one album, I think. No, yeah, he did. He gave me a fucking CD of it. It's great.
Yeah, that was like for a project.
Yeah, and like as Piggy Robbins was his like rap name, and like he's so much of the humor there, I feel like comes from the same kind of DNA as the humor in these De La Soul records, where I was always kind of like I wasn't surprised that you never like got into them. Most people generally don't get into them, even if they love rap. Where I'm so glad that like you kind of get where I'm coming from of why this group is so great, you know, like beyond the humor, totally. Even like they're so creative about how they go about making these like fucking albums, you know?
Right. And I mean, not to oversell it too much, but I would definitely say like their Feel Good Inc. is like a huge song in my life. Like, so even that little bit, like just reshaped my way of thinking just a tiny bit.
They're kicking flows on that song that I still don't get why it hadn't led to, like, because every single friend of mine is probably a fan of the Gorillaz. Like, that's how big they are for our generation. But barely any of them have ever like
a lot of people.
Yeah, and barely any of them have ever been like, yo, let me peep the De La Soul records off of Feel Good Inc. Despite their rapping is like without them on there, I don't know what the fuck that song even is. Because it's great. It has a great hook, great everything going for it, but those verses really take it to a whole other level, you know?
Yeah, really, yeah. And
but yeah,
there's like this Italian guy that has a mustache and he laughs like Maceo does in the beginning of that song.
Yeah.
He has a friend that whistles really loudly and they just like go around filming themselves. Like one guy whistles and then the other guy laughs at his whistle, like, and just they scare people in public.
Franco, puoi cantare, la bella è gonfia.
But it's just little things like that. Even Maceo just laughing, like I feel like everyone knows that laugh. Even if they are not, even if they don't know it's a Gorillaz song, they're like, oh, I know this song.
I didn't even realize that was Maceo laughing.
I didn't either until I actually looked it
That's
up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's him, yeah.
Oh, I love that dude. That dude's the best.
Because I always thought it was trying to be like, with the Gorillaz characters, I thought it was like trying to be like Murdoch, personified on the song, but no, that's Maceo.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best laughs in like just music. It's up there with the laugh at the end of the Thriller.
Yeah.
Like, so good.
And also to tie back something you were talking about earlier with the live album, I'm sure you probably know this, but it's immortalized on this song. They have changed the lyrics a bit to Me, Myself, and I, even as early as 1996.
Oh, yeah.
To say, we hate this song. We hate this song.
They were singing that record a year in, to my knowledge. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's funny. Because the reason why I even, use the term one-hit wonder, despite it, they're so much more than that. And I even think one-hit wonder is a weird term. Because to get a hit is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's weird to, discount an artist for ever having one hit alone. Then they're still cooking stuff. They're still making good music, where it's more on the listener to make more of that, to make more of why was this the hit? Because a lot of times that one hit isn't even their fucking best song, and in De La Soul's case of that, for me, Myself, and I, it's nothing truer than that, because while because revisiting 3 Feet High and Rising, I was enjoying it so much I forgot Me, Myself, and I was even on the record, where when it came on I was like, oh yeah, this is here, where it's a great song, you can play it and you're like, oh yeah, this is a great flip of that funkadelic track, Just Knee Deep. But I can't blame them for getting sick of it, especially knowing how young they were.
Right.
Like, and knowing how much more ideas they had, knowing how much more boundaries they can push and cross, especially because it is a song all about, we don't want to be isolated creatively. We are all about self-expression and that thing having a long lifespan. But here we are now defined by our first hit, you know?
Yeah.
People just want more of that, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's common too. Because a big parallel I would draw is Sturgill Simpson on his first album. He had this song called "You Can Have the Crown." That's it. Where like the chorus is like, you know, I call me King Turd on top of shit mountain. If you want it, you can have the crown. Which it's like it's like a song that on his first album is like kind of acknowledging all the stereotypes of like this like starving artist guy. And he's like, I don't want this, but at the same time, I want money to buy guitars and stuff like that. But anyway, that was kind of like his breakout hit. And of course, now he doesn't really play it because it's that thing where it's like your breakout song that everyone wants to hear. You're like, I'm past that. Like, why can't you understand? I'm past it.
I got new shit.
Yeah, and it's better too.
Yeah, because a lot of the times, it's always better most of the time.
Yeah,
where like. It's always funny because what I've noticed for a lot of artists, they don't really even know sometimes that this is going to be a hit.
Right.
That they're just like, yeah, this is just something I had to make, drop it, you know? Like, it's very rare for people to realize, oh, shit, yo, this actually worked out, you know? Where in both cases, I'm sure they had that kind of vibe about it, which is why I don't blame any artist for seeming ungrateful about the success of one song eclipsing everything else they're trying to do, you know?
Right. Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's like, you know, people will be like, well, if you're maybe a little ignorant about the music business, you'll be like, you're ungrateful to your fans who made you. But it's really just like, hey, like, I've improved. Like, I wish you would praise me for that, you know? Like,
it makes
you gotta
no
praise
sense,
me.
because, like, they're saying this about motherfuckers who decide to leave their house to come to their state.
Yeah.
Like, they care about you more than your family at that point. Like, fuck you mean they don't care about the fans?
Yeah, I mean, and as someone that's like coming to this with, you know, fresh ears, like I think like immediately I was like, okay, I think Me, Myself, and I is cool, but like I don't really feel like putting that on over so many other songs because it's just basic in a way, you know, like
it's like it's the preview it's the trailer for De La Soul.
Yes, exactly. There you go.
Like, if you like what you're hearing, you're gonna love everything else. You know, it's very much just there to sell it, and it's weird that for plenty of listeners out there, like this was like a punctuation point for them. Like, oh yeah, I'm good. Thanks for Me, Myself, and I.
Yeah.
When like, cause like to go back to like Blue Mind State, like that album. It's funny because like it's already nearly as pessimistic as Stakes is High, where Maceo opens the album like not opens, but like one of the earlier songs. He's like, "Oh, this is out to those sucker fucking assholes who won't get off our dicks." Like I forget what he says exactly, but he's like just already pissed. And I forgot about that aspect because they're still really funny about it. They're still really funny, just like, yeah, man, like. These people, they see us as this guy, so let's add a 1 minute song where it's just some Japanese dudes rapping about how cool it is to make a song with De La Soul. Because why not? You know? Like, there's room for shit like that. And, like my favorite line, I have a lot of favorite lines of these guys, but, like, one of my all-time favorites is on the song In the Woods.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Like, that song is fun. It's not much of a standout album, but it has, like, such a great Pasta Deuce verse where he literally, like, I'm just gonna read like the opening lines here. Like, punch that over operator, baby, it's a love solid. I've been styling abstract since Loose Leaves was the shit. Catching breathing on planes where the gangsters outdated. Fuck being hard, Pasta Deuce is complicated. Like, fuck being hard, Pasta Deuce is complicated is like such a like funny but hard line at the same time because it's very much looking at like how a lot of these rappers love the idea of standing for like, no one can fuck with me. I'm the toughest dude. Look at how many guns I have. Look how buff I am. Look at all the honeys I got. Where it's like way more meaningful to like be a person who has so many life issues, has a life full of so many individualistic things, than to just be another thug. You know what I mean? Which is like kind of a reductionist standpoint, but as a rapper in like fucking, what's this, year 93? It's so cool to like have that as your brag line. Which these guys don't really do brag lines off. They ever brag about, hey, nigga, it's a joke. most of the time. Where
Right.
Pasta News is complicated. It's like, it's not even a metaphor. It's just a fact that he's sharing with us that can only live in that real creative like mind, you know?
Yeah. And it's like lines like that, like throughout their thing that keep you so fascinated with like how self-aware they are when they're doing all this stuff, and like with the music industry, with just the, you know, hip hop, rap culture and all of that, and how they fit into it. They're you just see them as these like wise sages that are like completely doing things their own way without any, I mean, not, let's say there's no outside influence, but like no one's gonna tell them where to go. They're just gonna go by themselves.
Yeah, no, definitely. Where it's a miracle that they were able to make so many albums in the time that they were active, because like there, to me, is still no group that is successfully able to like keep this kind of like style going, because it is really hard to replicate, because they're constantly like letting us evolve while maintaining the thing that made them stand out from the get-go. Right. You know, where it's something that's really worth like peeping and honoring, you know,
and letting, you know, each member kind of do their thing, you know, like letting
like
them have
Pasta News and Trugoy never outshine each other, and they never feel like they have to. Right. Which is something I think that helped that band's dynamic more than anything, is that there wasn't, they never were really trying to like position one of them as like, oh, this is just gonna break off soon and like do his own thing. Whereas like Tribe Called Quest was always like Q-Tip's passion project and really the group's passion project. Whereas as much as I love that group's work, it very much is led by him. Where a funny thing about that final album of theirs that's supposed to be the big reunion album is Ali Shaheed Muhammad's not even on it. Like he was busy working on, I believe, another project where Q-Tip produced every single beat on the album himself, where the in-house co-producer of the group isn't even really there. Where that's what makes it like so different from De La Soul for me, where you see this group that are all genuine friends, they never seem like they're conflicting, despite there's like stories of them like arguing over stuff, where the music shows that kind of unity where they are a whole. They're not meant to be digested separately at all, you know?
Right.
Because a lot of groups, like I mean, like Arm& Hammer, a rap duo that like I'm a huge fan of, to a lot of people it's just more Billy Woods. They don't even really give a shit about Elucid to some extent, where whenever I'm trying to like talk with people online about Arm & Hammer, they're like, oh, this Billy Woods verse, despite Elucid is like such an insane rapper on his own, where he has a similar way of going about it to me as Trugoy, where he's very melodic and he's very much willing to let the beat guide him into a flow that's unconventional, just due to the fact that it feels like it's made specifically for this instrumental here. Where he gets underrated because like Billy Woods has such a like Chuck D kind of presence, where when he raps, you listen, regardless of what the beat fucking sounds like, you know? And it causes that group to have like a very like unfair dynamic to follow. Say with Outkast, of like people be like Andre 3000's top 10 and not even having anything to say about Big Boy, where like Earth Gang, a group that I do like, I don't like that much because it feels like they were like, yo, let's do Outkast but no Big Boy, which isn't what makes Outkast like, you know, great for what it is. Outkast would be honestly exhausting if it was just two Andre 3000s, you know? Sorry, I'm like ranting a lot.
No, I'm loving it. Tribe Called Quest, I need to get into like yesterday, because I've heard a few of their songs and their beats are like exactly what I want. Like that slapping snare.
Man.
So
like Low End
Theory
has like the hardest snare ever. Like all over that record. It's great. Where there's a fun journey where I definitely I'm excited to hear what you have on say about theirs, because not as funny, but like Phife Dawg, who is like the other rapper in the group, he's great. Rest in peace. Like he has such a silly humor similar to De La Soul on like the second and third album, where he just has like a lot of great lines, because he's also self-deprecating, where he's diabetic, and all of the lines he has to talk about that, it gives a voice to that like situation, while also finding a humor in it that helps you like not feel like he's trying to like give you like not that he doesn't have the right to make songs of like, yo, it's fucking hard to be a diabetic, but it shows you to him that like, yo, man, I keep it moving because that's the only way he can go about it, you know, where it's inspiring to like hear him like rap about that perspective while being fucking hilarious about it. Like there's no other like rapper who wants to be funny like him, because I don't want to like say he's a comedic or comedian or whatever, but you know what I mean.
But it's like a big part of his style,
Yeah. Where what sucks is that he's only on like 2 songs on the first album, and I think that's because he was busy with some shit. Like I forget what the story is, but like the second album he's there more, and then the third and fourth album he's basically a full-time member, which is what makes those albums even stronger in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because as much as Q-Tip is the GOAT, Fife and Ali Shaheed Muhammad and later Jay Dilla, who joins in the third album, they all bring so many other aspects that make their discography even stronger than a Q-Tip solo album, you know?
Okay, so then that's definite. Gotta listen to the Jay Dilla albums because we're doing the 3-album run about Jay Dilla this time. So that'll be my supplementary listening.
If you like hearing Dilla facts, you're gonna love this season.
Yeah. And well, speaking of that, he did the. Well, yeah, you already mentioned that he did the beat on Stakes is High.
Yeah.
Under the name JD, right?
JD. Yeah, because he wasn't Dilla to literally just a few years before his passing, I believe. Where he was JD for a while. Yeah. JD.
Oh yeah, because he died like really young, like in the 2000s, right?
Oh yeah, like he had his own like disease, which I forget the name of it. I'm not. What's funny is like people are like, "What? You love Dylan so much?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't like thinking about death. Isn't that crazy?"
Yeah.
but yeah, where he has a sad situation just because like it could have been avoided if misdiagnosis wasn't a common thing when it comes to like Black patients seeking like treatment,
right.
Where doctors, unfortunately, due to like how racism is inherent in a lot of institutions. Not trying to say sorry to all our doctor listeners. I'm not trying to say y'all are racist. But what I'm saying is
I'm saying that if you're a doctor listener. You suck.
What I'm saying is like there's a lot of downplaying. Trust me, I can tell you a lot of my issues personally. But like he's another case of just like he's misdiagnosed where so many years of treatment were wasted on a misdiagnosis where by the time they realized what it was, he didn't have a shot at being able to fight it, which I think is like just a tragic thing. But he has a great body of work, which he was able to pull off so young, which is always like admirable to like witness as an artist,
Right. Well, in the words of De La Soul is forever like racism or something like that.
That shit is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Channeling, in sing so my what brings that testament. The cover 12 inches of funk flip like as if I was the Delic himself, specializing in cleansing like the hits of elephants, dub hits, vowels out the park, man. Don't even try to talk bleach, I'm too dark and major more soul than James escapism. De La Soul is here to stay like racism. Catch it knowing I'ma put the pillow off the bed.
But yeah, De La. I gave 3 Feet High Rising another listen.
Yeah.
And I really, 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 really dug it a lot more on this listen. And I think it's because I let myself get past of trying to compare it to the other records, which I kind of implied in like the last episode, because it hits the ground running as I bring up earlier. It's very front loaded. Like Magic Number, Change and Speak, back to back are just such fun fucking songs.
Right.
And I forget that the game show skits are also really funny. Like, 'cause I love that. It's just like, it's like there's no plan. There can't be a script to this. They're just doing whatever fucking voice and line comes to mind,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty much confirmed by Prince Paul and on what had happened was he's like, yeah, we just improvised all of that. And even like the guest actors that came in, they wouldn't have a script for them either. They would just say like, "This is what you're gonna do," and they would just do it.
Yeah,
which it's just insane, like how well they all came out.
Yeah, no, they're really great at bits. Like, this album shows it just as much as De La Soul is dead. And I just forget like how banging a lot of the beats are on here for an album that came out so early. Like, Jennifer Taught Me is like easily one of my favorite beats. That they do a similar thing to Peas Porridge, where they're like rapping so closely to the rhythm of the beat, where they feel like a fucking part of it, But it still remains like so like just cool. But yeah, no, where I am really glad I did this listen because there's just so much stuff I forgot about. I love here, like Tread Water, which is just like only they can do that kind of like conceptual song or want to do that kind of song. There's a whole bit of like animals talking and the beat just catching that kind of like silliness that comes with that kind of like personification,
Yeah, I mean, it is really consistent. Like they, throughout the whole thing, there's like all these great songs scattered out throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Through the skits and everything, and like the shorter tracks, the bug out tracks, if you will.
I still don't understand Buddy.
It's about sex, right?
Yeah, it's about sex, but like there are some lines in there that are just like, unless like this is a joke, because there's one line where dude basically says like, yeah, I watch my friends fuck somebody in front of me because we're all friends. And like, I'm just like, am I just reading this shit too literally or what the hell's going on here? Because I love Buddy and I love the remix even more. Have you heard the remix? With
Yeah,
Queen
the
Latifah?
longer. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I heard the 12-inch version, which is like a longer version, so it must be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Queen Latifah, she's just great in general. Where if you love their stuff, she was technically a native tongue member, but because she's Queen Latifah, she became her own thing because of how fucking crazy her music is. Which I think she has a similar situation to someone like Snoop Dogg, where her celebrity has kind of forced people to like value her music less because it's like, oh, Queen Latifah, I love her, you know, and I don't need to hear your music to love you. I got like this show I can watch, a movie you can watch, you know, where her first few albums are so underrated. Like they age way more gracefully than you would expect for someone whose gimmick at the beginning was like, yeah, I'm a woman and I'm smart. You know, where it's like, what can you do with that, you know?
Yeah. I do like in that song, like, I'm so glad you're not a fuddy-duddy.
Yeah.
I use that phrase every now and then, like, because I just like it. So it was like when I first heard that, I was like, oh, I like this. And that we're like Ethel Mertz and Lucille McGillicuddy.
Yeah. Like you really get, I always get like amused at how much you could rhyme with Buddy. It's really, really just a fun song where you don't have that much stuff like that anymore, which is like we're talking about right before, because we're talking about gay meme rap. Like we were talking about there's like a version of that, I think, that they talking about with the XXL 2016 freestyle. Was it 2016?
I think so. Yeah, it was like they're using TikTok phrases like skibbity and Riz and Giat.
Yeah, it's literally the first result.
Ohio.
That's what's funny. Brainrot Cypher. I know what you're talking about. Fucking Christ, that's crazy. Memes are too powerful. But what was it? But yeah, we were talking about the one with Kodak Black, 21 Savage, those guys, and like when I hear songs like Buddy, it just makes me wish there was more room in the rap industry for posse cuts again, because posse cuts is like it's something that makes rap so great on its own kind of thing, because in rock, like you have to check the fucking liner notes if you want to know if like, oh, Clapton's on this, Harrison's on this, you know, like you won't really fucking know, because unless you could be that obsessed with a family, like I could recognize a Prince guitar, you know, like sure. But like with rap, it's like really cool to like see them bring these many personalities to show how many ways you can like make a beat work and like make that pacing become a whole other situation, where you don't see that often with a lot of records, where like the most recent one I've heard was what's funny is one I don't really like. It's on Cash Cobain's latest record. He has a 7-minute long posse cut of like him and a bunch of New York drill rappers rapping over you know that TikTok song "Not My Problem."
I'm not sure.
Not my problem. That is not my problem.
Possibly, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, like it's an earworm, I guess. And like shout out the girl who made that, Layla, because I heard her first album recently, just came out this month. It's pretty good if you like neo soul music, if you like just Badu, that whole sound. She's also the daughter of Yasin Bey, which people keep bringing up about her. And she even like, because at first it was a rumor, but it's just something weird to think about. But anyway, there's a posse cut sampling this song that's like 7 minutes, which that's cool. But like Buddy, what I love about that song a lot is that it really sells the native tongues as a group. You can tell all these guys are in it to win it because they have a movement that they believe in, which you can even find in that XXL 21 Savage, Kodak Black, and those other guys cypher, where you feel like these guys are like very much showcasing how diverse this generation of rappers can be without respecting what you're expecting from rap, you know, where that kind of like feeling and mood you can't find in songs so often. Like my favorite version of it when I was a teenager growing up was the last Odd Future Wolfgang posse cut they had, Oldie, which is like immortalized now just for like Frank Ocean and Earl's verse on it, which are two great verses. But that song is so big to hear as a Wolfgang fan who's like been a fan of Odd Future since like 2009. Like you feel like this is a parting farewell because it is the last posse cut they all did together, you know, and like you hear them all as way better rappers than they were earlier, and they're all giving their best to showcase what they bring to this movement, which I think really just shows the power of a posse cut. And it's not often anymore because rappers are not united. You can barely get two rappers in the room together. You can barely get two rappers to agree to release a song, let alone getting 8 rappers to hop on a track and be like, yeah, sure, I'll take a terrible cut from my rate to make this song live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with that, just that XXL Cypher thing, it's like you just, like all the bare minimum that you get from it is like they look like they're all, one, having fun with each other, and two, that they all respect each other's skills. Like, and that's really for the show of it, for like, you know, the posse cut thing, like, you know, not even if it's not all recorded while they're all in the same room, you know, like, which you get the feel of that with Buddy, that they're all like literally standing all around together, bouncing ideas off with, and letting it be like this creative process rather than like, oh, I have to be the best one on this track, you know?
Yeah, trying to like turn it into a platform for their whole personality and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I kind of stopped watching the Cyphers, because some people be like, well, they haven't had a good freshman lineup in years, and that is true. But I think it's more they haven't had a lineup that gave us reason to check it out, because a lot of, like, even when Lil Yachty, 21 Savage, and all those guys, they got the XL freshmen, they already had shit that went viral beforehand, where this Cypher isn't what made them famous. It just helped immortalize them. Yeah, you know what I mean? Where like, I think what sucks is that since there's no one willing to like give a no-name rapper a chance anymore, especially when like a magazine is saying, you gotta check this out. Because more than ever, people will be like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
How dare you endorse a thing I never heard of? Making me have to check it out to validate.
Yeah, I've never even heard of them. How are they supposed to be good?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, you can play the song and see.
Yeah.
But like, whenever I do check it out, because the last pack of ciphers I checked out was when Meg Thee Stallion and Rico Nasty and the Baby were all, remember the Baby? When all of them got on like the freshman list, and it was just dry. Like there was, you could tell none of these people wanted to be in the same room together. They didn't care about each other's verses, and you could tell that this shit was made out of multiple takes, as in they were recording takes after takes of all these verses where every rapper at that point wants to fucking leave rather than hear what the other person has to offer, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And that's what you can get out of a great cypher, is similar to something like Buddy, where you can see all these artists who have like a similar love for this like thing they're doing, and like being excited what every person can bring to it rather than being like, whatever. I don't care, you know?
And the frequency that like just Q-Tip appears across the early De La Soul, like he's like all over. So
you can tell he loves it. Like, and I love his love of hip hop so much. Like Q-Tip, one of my favorite people, like just ever, in terms of like just when it comes to like rap, because De La, which is like probably my favorite group, like he had his own thing. He had a Tribe Called Quest. He doesn't even really need to be here, but because how much he fucks with it, he wants to be there. He wants to like see how much he can leave a footprint on this thing that's also dope to him, you know?
Right.
And like he doesn't ever force a song to be his, which I think is like so cool about his presence throughout these albums. Like on Saturdays, he just gives that opening verse. He's like, all right, y'all take it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all good to go now.
Yeah, and his verse definitely leaves an impression too. It's not like just an afterthought either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he knows more than anything that this song doesn't have to become his, which is why I think a lot of rappers are scared to do collabs now. They're scared of being out-rapped. They're scared of like of being embarrassed on a song or whatever.
Speaking of that, I also listened to The Blueprint.
Yeah, you heard the full blueprint. Blueprint.
Yeah, it was awesome. I love it. I just listened to it once.
It's a great record.
And, I was definitely familiar with a few of the songs, like Izzo in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool.
I don't. Yeah. Wait, no. I was about to say some dumb fact about Kanye, but I had the wrong one because I was gonna say that's the beat that got Kanye signed, but no, he was signed many beats ago. But it was like his first really big hit of like Jay-Z doing something on his stuff, which is cool because it's not that complicated of a beat. It's a very straightforward like sample flip, but he finds the right pocket to like loop it on, you know. And Jay-Z doesn't even rap on it regular. He does like one of his like weird, I'm talking about most kind of rapping flows on it. Where it's a really, really interesting song that like blew up because there's so much on that record. You would think like these songs were the ones that stood out. Like I think it's crazy that there's people who are like, yeah, I love Jay-Z, but never heard Heart in the City.
Right.
Yeah, like that song is crazy. So good.
Yeah, no, it was a really it was definitely a fun listen, and I'm gonna have to check out some more Jay-Z because
but in the context where we're talking about, he definitely is a rapper who's scared to out rapped now because he doesn't have that many. I'm trying to even remember, he doesn't even have that many features on his albums after. It's usually like maybe 1 or 2 at most.
Yeah, it just has the Eminem one on the Blueprint too. So
yeah, and like trying to think, like Black Album has no features. To my knowledge, I don't remember exactly. Like rap features, we were like, Pharrell is singing, but I'm talking about rap. Okay, Jay-Z's not threatened by a hook, let alone a Pharrell hook. Go see Lego Pharrell in theaters probably by the time you're listening to this.
Yeah, go see it. Maybe a little before it comes out, but it's coming up. So mark your calendars.
Yeah, that wasn't a dig at you, by the way. I'm just more talking about the weird nature of podcasts. Like, I was listening to to a 4-week-old podcast the other day, and it was kind of funny because it was recorded months before they released it too. So he was talking about shit. It was like that Mr. Show skit where it's like, what the fuck?
Live
this is like a time capsule of the most random week in history.
Yeah, we've had a lot of those moments with our pre-recording thing where it's like, oh, it was like just before something happened.
Yeah. Which I think it's a fun refresher for people.
Yeah, definitely.
But Blueprint's good. No Neptune's beat on there, which is interesting because Neptune's was already like a Jay-Z fixture around that point of his career. But all Kanye, Just Blaze, and Bink. And I think Timbaland is on a few. Yeah,
Timbaland is on Hola Jovito.
Yeah.
Which is a good song, too.
Yeah,
and then Eminem. Of course, you can't forget about his production work.
Q-Tip even shows up on Girls, Girls, Girls.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he's one of, like, what's funny with that song is all the hooks are legendary rappers, where I think it's Biz, Slick Rick, and then Q-Tip.
Yeah.
Where he does one of the hooks on there. He's always somewhere.
Yeah, he's always popping up.
Yeah.
He's getting his name and his voice on recording.
For me, it's funny with him sometimes where I'm just like, learning that he was in the room for some kind of shit that I already like, where I'm like, you could have, why are they not making you just run the show? Because like, a fun thing to learn about, like if you ever are a fan of Kanye, it's his music. his before Vulture's music, before Donda music, sorry. Anyway, so if you're a fan of Kanye's music, before all of that, it's worth reading into whatever making of stuff they have because it's fascinating to learn how many people were in the room cooking with him. Where all of the lights, a cool thing I know about that is that Q-Tip is the guy who's playing the bongos that you can hear in the mix doing the hook. And it's insane to like learn that because the bongo playing is so intense, so repetitive. Where it's funny imagining him like doing that take after take, you know?
Yeah. He's like his hands are hurting. He's like, one more take.
Yeah. Because he is a perfectionist. Him and Kanye both perfectionists, where it's kind of crazy to imagine them trying to figure out a good bongo take.
Yeah.
No,
you got to do not.
They're doing it on like their laps, like they're slapping to like you're not even doing an actual bongo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but if you like something in rap, Q-Tip was probably in the room for it. That's just what I've learned.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. A lot of good music. Been digging into a lot, and there's so much more to get into. But I got my first taste of Radiohead this week.
Yeah, what'd you listen to?
So I mentioned it when I was talking about my Grateful Dead fandom, but I'm listening along to the Dick's Picks series with a podcast that covers every installment, and then in their like seasons of the podcast, they do one like curveball episode, they call it. So like the first season, their curveball was Fish, which is like an obvious comparison, both jam bands or whatever, and Fish is inspired by Grateful Dead. And second season, their curveball was Radiohead. And so, like, what they talked about, like, basically every episode they just go through the show, right? So for this one, they did Radiohead's 2006 Bonnaroo performance, which, have you heard about that?
Their Bonnaroo performance now.
Basically, it's just, like, they all kind of cite it as, like, one of the best performances they've ever had. So it was right before when In Rainbows came out, and they debuted a bunch of songs off of In Rainbows, which, for, like, a festival crowd to play your new stuff, and for it to be so well received, it kind of just gave them this like high, like this hit of energy that like just took them through.
It's funny how that is such a huge gamble.
Yeah, but
like,
it worked out.
I think a riot would occur if Drake ever did that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I got some new shit.
So it was cool. Like they did a lot of OK Computer stuff, and I have to look up their names because I haven't actually listened to a full album yet. I just listened to Creep on repeat when I listen to it.
That's all you have to hear. Speaking of bands hating their one hit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they did a bunch of stuff from Kid A, Amnesiac, Hail to the Thief. And In Rainbows. So, and I really enjoyed it. Like, just kind of like, they're not really like a jam band, but when they were talking about it on the podcast, it was interesting to hear like how they approached like, using the studio as their opportunity to kind of jam, and like figure out a song just by playing together, and how like their songs are like not necessarily like, they're not focused on the structure of a song necessarily. Like, here's the chorus part, which is obviously they have a little bit of that with like the early period with like Creep and stuff, but they kind of like took the art rock band thing to their own direction. So it's cool. I think I'm gonna go through their albums as well at some point.
Yeah, no, because especially if you're using the term art rock, I feel like they're the only band to not let the weight of whatever that could mean crush them, because they're rock.
Yeah.
That's something that people have to accept. Some people, when it comes to like Kid A, some people like to be like, but this is electronic. And it's like, sure. But like, if you really get into it, listen to it, like technically, they're still coming from it as like a percent of like a rock band, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where the way they're using these elements, because they are like something that I think helps Radiohead be ahead of like a lot of the guys they were like grouped in with when they first came out and being labeled as like Britpop, was that they took a like piece of advice from another great band, the Beatles, to like take in new elements of new sounds that are far from what they're trying to do to like amplify the creativity. Where something I've always like admired about them, especially Tom York, was their implementations of like MF Doom and Mad Love's Mad Villainy record, where you can really hear in like a lot of their later stuff how much even that as an abstract rap album influenced them, where they have no limit on what they let influence their overall like kind of sound. Because they never at some point get to the point where like, we're never going to use another guitar, we're never going to have drums. Like they're not trying to fully embed in the idea of what a rock band is. They very clearly want to be that still, but it's cool to see them like use these non-rock elements to like I said earlier, amplify the whole thing they have going on. Because if they wanted to, they could have just kept making more straightforward like music that could be easily like, yeah, that's rock. Because like when you check out the Bends, even like the Bends is a great record. It's not that experimental. It's not trying to be that like conflicting for the listener. Which the misfortune I had as a Radiohead fan was that the first album I checked out when I was like 12, because a friend of mine in grade school was like, yo, this is better than rap. It was Kid A.
Wait, your friend was the guy on the De La Soul track at the end who said the N-word? Rap isn't real music.
Man, what's crazy is like this wasn't even like a white kid. It's like because the school I went to was all black. Like when I was in grade school, it was like this one weird kid. I forget his name. It might have been Eric. We're sorry if you check it out, Eric. I haven't talked to you in years, but he was like he was the guy. But like he's the guy who was like, yeah, you're cool, Julius, but like you gotta check out more cool music. Where you gotta check out System of a Down and Radiohead. Where the only one that I stuck with was Radiohead because Kid A, which I know you haven't heard yet, it's the worst one to listen to first because it's them abandoning all of that. Like they were listening to a lot of like IDM music, like Apex Twin, you know, where they fully go all in of fusing their sound as a rock band with this new exciting sound. Where when I tried to check out their other stuff at first, I was like, no, I want more of the weird shit. Where's the weird shit at? Give me that. And like, I feel like with Radiohead, you really, really gotta like follow through on like checking it out from beginning to end because when you start from any of the later records, you're gonna be just really annoyed at their earlier stuff not resembling that at all. Because for a lot of our generation, I noticed that And Rainbows is a lot of people's entry point, which another great record. The only album of theirs I don't really like is Amnesiac and Hell to the Thief. I don't really care for a lot of their middle point albums, but I do love their best album is Pablo Honey. Pablo Honey is like the greatest fucking like but yeah, where there are points where I don't like, but like In Rainbows, great album, but once again it's like another distancing of what they were famous for. Same even OK Computer. Yeah. You know, where I feel like just as like advice, which I'm figuring we're going to do anyway, it's like I would say avoid trying to get the standouts first, which is funny because I'm the guy who started with the most popular Oasis album. Yeah. That just shows how much I don't respect them despite giving them a try. Radiohead, I think it's worth trying to like see how they're transforming, you know, from the get-go.
Yeah, I agree. I thought about starting with the Bends, but I figured I'll just go ahead and knock out Pablo Honey just to see because I am curious.
Honestly, no, you can skip it.
But anyone can play guitar.
What's funny is I loved that song when I was in middle school. I don't know what the fuck was going on with me.
I'll still try it. I just want to maybe I'll use the skip button liberally, but
but no, Radiohead is cool. Where I already looked it up to see if I can watch this Bonnaroo Fest.
Yeah, it's on their YouTube.
Very available. Yeah. It's on YouTube. It's on archive.org.
Yeah,
it's great. So.
Yeah, definitely. I would recommend checking it out. And they do 2 encores technically, and the first one is really long. It's almost as long as like a set.
I saw this. Yeah, like I checked out the set list for a second. And I was like, it took me a minute to not crack up and like how they do 7 songs in an encore.
Yeah,
because I recently went to I saw Magdalena Bay on Sunday, which I don't. I didn't know I could do that.
It's watching you. Yeah.
Sorry for people who listen, but we record this on Discord, and like it can do it if you do like a thumbs up pops up. It's not happening for Danny though.
Yeah, maybe I don't know what's going on.
Man, this is the best podcast ever. But like, I saw Magdalena Bay on Sunday with Alona. It was a great concert. Good timing because. Thing that pisses me off as a person who's getting pretty old is a band who has no respect for waiting because I don't give a fuck. Like I'm tall, so I can like really stand anywhere to see the group. But like with Alona, we have to like try to get to a good spot for her to be able to see the stage and stuff. Yeah. And like it's annoying to play the whole game of like I'm gonna show up 2 hours early to guarantee I have a spot because the majority think like this, especially for a band as excited as Magdalena Bay, but they showed up only like about an hour after doors open. It was beautiful because LCD Sound System made me wait 3 hours, which is why I love LCD Sound System, but I have irrational hatred of James Murphy. Yeah. And that just amplified that for me because Alona left. Alona was like, fuck this. I don't even like the band that much. so that's how long the wait was, you know, because we had to like stand because it was at Aragon Ballroom, which for my Chicago listeners out there, you know, like that's a annoying venue to stand at. Yeah. But but just why I bring them up, Magdalena Bay's concert, is that the idea of an encore is funny now because most people at this point, like they do the whole like, all right, goodbye, thanks for coming, drive home safe. and then they go away for a second. Nobody leaves at that point. You only leave because you either don't know or you got work in the fucking morning or something you got to take care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like everyone usually stays because their encore is expected. Right. Where it's only been a few times where I've waited 10 minutes with a bunch of other people and it was like, damn, really no encore. Okay. And like the Magnet Bay only came out back to just do one song, which is fine. Like they probably had like to go do some shit themselves. They have a whole fucking tour, you know. I don't judge or whatever. But to imagine like Radiohead being like, "Hey, thanks for coming out for like almost 2 hours. So now stay for 40 more minutes." You know, like that's awesome if you love Radiohead, but it's kind of funny because at that point, because like a lot of people forget why encores are a thing. You know, people are like, "Why would they do that? Why would they make us wait?" They need to drink water. They need to like take a fucking break. They performed music for you for a full fucking hour, you know?
Yeah.
You try doing that without taking a little break. Where that's the whole point of it. Because even just recently I saw a TikTok comment. I was like, hey, by the way, don't leave when the band leaves. Because this is a new thing they've started doing. It's like, this has been a thing trend, forever. Yeah. It's been here forever. And it started because of audiences being fucking addicts, you know? Yeah. It's not like the band wants to do an encore. They have to satisfy these people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I like Harley always like, she always like hates that whole like tease of like, oh, we know you're going to come back out, you know? Which it's interesting because like the Bonnaroo set, you know, like it was a really long encore, but I feel like these people are already like, this is a festival, you know? So this is just the first day. So they got all the energy. They got 2 more days of this festival. And this is also like before, like it used to be kind of more jam band focused, who they're used to like 4-hour concerts, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like they got like 45-minute set breaks, you know, but all that. But like I think now Bonnaroo now is, you know, more like popular acts. So like their crowds have probably changed a bit. But yeah, this crowd was just willing just to like play as long as you want type of thing.
Yeah, no, because like when you have this body of work, I at least want to hear like 20 songs.
Yeah. So what's your favorite? OK Computer probably, or?
No, unfortunately, it's still Kid A.
Oh, okay.
Like since I've heard it at the age of 12, I am obsessed with that album, and I do have an appreciation for each album they've made, and love for plenty of their other records. Like OK Computer is just a perfect rock album. Like it's insane that an album like that can have Karma Police and a whole bunch of other joints still, you know, like where like it's a mind blowing record to like check out but Kid A, like that's just my favorite because as much as I am a fan of rock, I do love that sound of music even more because it's just like, it just sounds unreal. It's like, how's this even fucking music? And
how'd they do this?
And no one, how did they do this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, who did this? Like some guy listens to everything's in the right place. Who did this? This isn't what it's supposed to sound like.
Going into a music store and being like, who made this? I need to know. Who made this?
Crying and laughing. Oh my God. But with Kid A, there's so much cool shit there. Like my favorite song ever by them is on that album Tree Fingers, which is not Tree Fingers. I always mix it up. It was since I was a kid. Idiotique, which I probably said it wrong. That song is so crazy. And what I think is funny about that song to me is that it feels like a rap song at points. Like Tom York is doing some weird fucking raps on that song, in my opinion, which I know wasn't intention at all. These guys are pretentious, where they are not thinking of rap when they're making a song like that. But that's what it reminds me so much of just these creative ass dudes tapping in without trying to feel like, oh, we got to do this because it's the thing. It's just they're inspired by this other world of music to pull off this whole other kind of song, you know?
Yeah.
Where for me, it's always going to be Kid A. And I like to front, like if like in high school, I would always say like, oh, Hell to the Thief is the best one because that's the one no one really talks about. There's a lot of cool stuff on Hell to the Thief, but Kid A, OK Computer, and Rainbows, those are like perfect fucking rock records. They're all fucking great, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to check it out. And, I was going to say something earlier. I made fun of your friend I called him the guy on that one De La Soul song. I'll turn it on myself because in that part where this racist guy is calling rap not music, I was able to identify the country song that starts playing in the background.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a song called Window Up Above, which was originally done, well, I don't know about originally, but George Jones had the famous version, but it's actually the Mickey Gilley version of that song. So
oh, hell yeah.
That's my nerdy, I think I get negative points for identifying that. Like, who knows where that came
that's
from,
also
but.
Because I do think it's funny to learn that like they are just using an actual country song. Because I just assume they just busted out whatever it takes to make that.
I mean, my assumption was like it was whenever that interview was being recorded, that song just came on in the room. So I'm guessing that otherwise they wouldn't like add an extra sample that they needed to clear. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad because which album was that on again? Was that
was
Stakes?
on? Yeah, Stakes. It was. It's at the end of like the 10th song, Long Island Degrees.
Yeah. Like which that song alone is just great. But like but yeah, no, which like that album, it feels timeless because it's responding to something that is still an issue today of like, is rap or hip hop or whatever real music? Because I'm like, what else do you need this thing to do to prove itself?
Yeah.
Where I'm always amused when anyone still wants to stand on that hill, like someone with like millions of followers and just like, yeah, it's not real. Despite that if they were in a room with someone like Snoop Dogg, they would geek the fuck out.
Yeah.
They would not be like, hey, Snoop, you don't make real music. Like they will fan out because like it's a genre that has like maintained its soul for so long. Where I would only even say rap is only falling off now because everything is falling off now. Like there's no room to be creative. There's no money in it. Yeah. Where everyone is struggling to figure out how to like be able to pay rent with whatever art form they have going for them because there's no way to really make money off of it anymore. Like you're making TikToks, but TikToks ain't gonna fucking pay rent. Right. There's no way to make sense out of that. There's no math to it.
Yeah, you gotta like have an intense fan base that loves buying your music and seeing you perform, and then you gotta like kill yourself on a touring schedule. That's like unrealistic.
Every great creative of this era becomes a really great T-shirt company at some point.
Yeah,
like they just make killer merch to really pay those bills.
Right. Yeah.
That's just the fate because of like it's really difficult to make music from this thing. Where I'm not trying to sound like a person who like rap is dead. Like everything dies at some point, and I don't really believe in the death of art as long as there's artists to create it. But if we're going to be honest about like rap as a genre, I would say like, yeah, its lifespan is changing now just because of like how oversaturated it is and how like the expectations for its success has like changed so drastically. Where like Kendrick selling 300K record, not even Kendrick, I'm trying to give a better example. Hell, for even just outside of rap, like Brat by Charlie XCX, if we're going to talk about album sales, just went gold like 2 months ago, which if you don't know what gold means, that's 500,000 copies sold, like physically, digitally, however. And it used to be a thing where like if you weren't going platinum as an artist, you weren't considered famous. If you didn't have hit singles, you weren't considered famous. And what's amusing about Brat and how much it's been running this second half of 2024 as an album is that it has zero top 10 singles. Like there's no, well actually no, I did guess with Billie Eilish got close. But to even like give myself room, Guess is a bonus track that got remixed with Billie Eilish. Of course, it's going to be a hit.
Right.
But like, it's an album that doesn't do Taylor Swift numbers. It doesn't even do Ariana Grande numbers. Where it's cool to see an album like this be able to live outside of the typical standard for success for music through just having a culture that is like breathing new life every single day into it. Where, because like whenever you check like chart data on like Twitter to like look how people are responding to it, it's like album sales, people are like, ew, why are we talking about this album? It's not even 1 million copies sold. And that is a conundrum worth talking about because it's cool that a record doesn't even need those numbers to stand for why it's successful and to stand for why it's being talked about. Like I'm sure if I walked out, well actually no, because I live in Lincoln Park, but I'm sure, I doxed myself. I'm sure if I walk out like on the south side or whatever, or fucking Rogers Park possibly, I would have a hard time meeting another Charlie XCX fan. You know what I mean? But like
Right.
general like people of our age, like they're gonna know her at this point, and that just shows how much the goalposts of what is successful doesn't matter anymore in music, and that goes back to the making of it. Like rappers are insane about trying to make money now. They do not give a fuck about the art form most of the time because they're like, how am I going to pay rent? Where you find that as a very rare thing now. If rappers be like, I want to work with this guy, I want to work with that guy, I want to do this thing, I want to do this weird thing, because there's no room for it, you know. And I feel like it's felt like that for a lot of art, you know, where basically kill your landlord.
I am curious though, because like I don't think it's kind of pointless to say something is dead because something, if you view it that way, then something always comes back up through like the if you metaphor it of like something dies on the earth and then the soil like absorbs, it decomposes and then grows something new, right? So like I think that's the way things go. But I'm curious, like, because we always like to compare country to rap, and rap's like relatively newer than country. So I'm curious, like, if we're gonna see like, because in country there are people now, and there's been for a while, that are like explicitly doing like style pastiches of like, let's say 90s country. Like there's this one guy that you'll love his name. His name is Zach Top, and everyone out there needs Top. Like really bad. They love his music. His album is like literally called Cold Beer and Country Music, and he's really just doing like an Alan Jackson 90s country style. So like yes, I can enjoy that, but I can also be like, well, it's not super exciting to me because it's not pushing it anywhere. But I just imagine there's gonna be like someone coming up like that's gonna have a viral TikTok song. If TikTok doesn't get banned, that's gonna be like the hit to the hop to the hit to the hop, like being like an 80s funny, throwback.
Danny, there already is a song like that just came out. Like, do you know the rapper Doechii?
Yeah. Well,
Doechii is awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. I love Doechii. But what I think is funny about her new album, which I think is really, really good, is there's a lot of beats on there that just sound like 90s, 2000s kind of rap, where it's like boom, 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 like transition music at MTV Cribs, or like fucking menu music on like NBA 2K or Madden, you know, where like it's those kind of beats. And what I think is funny is she has a song on the album called Boom Bap, which is like boom bap, whoop bap, like just rhyming those words, which to me is closer to the hip hop baby. And like boom bap is now a trending sound on TikTok. Like people are making videos to that, where it's causing hip hop to go full circle of what sounds are trending, you know? Because that is a thing I kind of miss in rap, is when someone wants to do a weird little scat or whatever in the metaverse. Because speaking of De La Soul, like they have a lot of that in their things of like Buddy beginning with meanie, say what? Like that kind of like weird rhythmic thing going on, you know?
Yeah.
Where I feel like that coming back just means there's a lot more love and soul in the process of it, you know? Because to the hip hop, as corny as it sounds, it's supposed to set it up. You know, they're hyping you up. And now people are letting the beat do that more than anything. Like every fucking thing has like a beat drop to like make you realize, oh, the song has begun. The 808s are playing, you know?
Yeah. Well, there you go. I predicted the current times. After they happened. I think that's pretty impressive. No. But yeah, I'm curious, like, if that will, like, become like at least entering into like the top 10 of like all genre type thing, like to see if like that's what bring, because like I don't know, like I'm sure Doechii is popular, but is she gonna have the hit that does that?
What's funny, she already had the hit, it just sucks. Like, welcome to the hot take corner. But like she has this song with Kodak Black that you've definitely have heard, like in a car commercial.
What it is,
ho? What's up?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do you know that one?
I'm listening to it right now. I guess I don't know if I have. That wasn't what I was thinking of when I heard the phrase "what it is."
Yeah, because it's interpolating Trillville, which classic record talks. Lil Jon produced it, which I think is just another funny thing about it. This is probably my most fat drop thing episode. Sorry about the listeners there who are tired of taking notes The quiz is on Friday. It's gonna be true and false.
Yeah.
But
open note.
but that song was a hit single where she got to go to the Grammys, I think, and she got to like it played in a bunch of sports commercials and blah blah blah. Where she's blown up, it's a weird kind of famous because Doechii, I hate talking about it like this because when it comes to like women rappers, like female rappers, you know, it's this weird stigma because rap overall has a really stupid fucking fan base that likes to be vocal. Like the genre overall. Like I think most of the podcasters suck, including not just but most of the podcasters suck, most of the tastemakers suck, most of the people who want to be vocal as a like, listen to me about rap, they suck. Because when they talk about female rappers, they like to go like, so there's the female rappers that like talking about their pussies and sex and dick. And then there's female rappers who are smart and are lyrical and are miracle. You know, like it's stupid because we don't do that with guy rappers at all. We don't be like, we got car rappers, we got sports rappers, we got this and that. Like let a rapper, rappers. We got food rappers. like we like it's dumb. Where Doechii, she's been categorized as like she's a lyrical female rapper. She ain't gotta show her booty to sell a record. and like what's annoying is that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, in my opinion. Like you're forcing her to be that where you're refusing to let her be successful because you're not letting her music be successful. You're like, this has to be a secret.
Right.
You know? Yeah. She can't make party music. Despite Doechii, like I've been up to her for like a few years now because huge Isaiah Rashad fan, where if you haven't checked out Isaiah Rashad and you guys love TDE, Top Dog, that whole sound, he is like just a great part of that whole clique where he does a lot of like Outkast style, Southern trunk bumping music, very Memphis, very just Southern. And he has a song on his latest album, The House is Burning, called What You Said, which is a straightforward party track, great beat, great flows, great everything. And Doechii, to me, has her like what should have been like her star-making moment on that record, where her verse on that song is just something incredible because she steps on the beat like in such an effortless way. It takes my breath away whenever I hear it.
Yeah.
And for me, because of that, I never really thought of Doechii as a rapper you need to put into a box. You know what I mean? Right. Where I feel like it sucks that all the people who are like running rap discourse, running all of the forums or whatever, have such a backwards way of looking at female rappers, because Doechii shouldn't be considered like a lyrical rapper because it is causing her to have to like be boxed in and never have her music be as successful as someone that they love making fun of, like, oh, she's not like Meg Thee Stallion who just raps about her pussy. Despite Meg Thee Stallion, like if you actually listen to her fucking album, she is way more than that. And it's very clear that she's stuck in a record label situation where they recognize that the quickest way to capitalize a female rapper is through sex appeal, you know? Yeah. It's been like that since the fucking beginning. And it's like that because of us. We're the reason. We're the audience who are making it this way, you know? Where Doechii should be successful because she is also a Top Dog member. Where if you love Top Dog, check out Xavier Shot, check out Doechii. Because they are like, to me, the two most exciting things about a label since Kendrick has moved on and Schoolboy Q drops the album whenever he feels like it. And Absol, I don't know where the fuck Absol is. Absent. That's funny. That's funny. Shout out Absol. Ab-Scent.
Yeah.
But anyway, Doechii's awesome. And she should hopefully blow up beyond what it is. Because what it is, just I don't like it. It's just very bland.
Well, yeah, I definitely have her album on my list to check out. My sister recommended it to me. Shout out to Caitlin.
Oh, your sister. Shout out, Caitlin.
So yeah, well there we go. We've got a whole bonus set for you to keep you warm and toasty till next week. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about drums and there's drum samples and all that fun stuff. It'll be a bit of a party.
It'd be funny if it's just us doing like just we just speaking drums.
All right, we're gonna do a bongo off, like
cute.
Yeah, cute.
Oh yeah, but yeah, no, but thanks for listening. Keep your ears open for our upcoming episode about drums, and we out of here.
Peace.
Peace.